Hello guys, welcome to today's live stream. So gold has finally tapped our POI as it was shared over here. You can see this was the POI, which was the 1 hour order block, and finally after a couple of hours gold has finally tapped into our order block, and from here now we can look for a sell opportunity. Uh, Okay. Hmm. Okay, so now we can focus on selling gold once again because the structure is still bearish. In the daily, I told you about $4,996, which was taken. And after that, in the 1 hour, we waited for displacement. But if you look at the structure, then there was no displacement over here. And here also, if you look at the structure, then the only POI is going to be at this level, which is a very small POI. So it's still a POI, but once again, it's not a very healthy displacement to the upside. So yes, the structure still remains bearish in gold, and this is the order block, and you can see that market did not tap over here, right? And that's why I was waiting for market to come and tap into this order block, because you have to be very careful with the levels. You cannot miss even this much amount of difference between the price and the order block. So I actually checked in other brokers as well, and in all of them, this order block was pending in the 1 hour, which market has finally tapped into in the New York session, and now market can drop from here. So let's go to the 5 minutes and see if we have got a confirmation or not. So if you look at the 5 minute structure, so we can see that market was pushing like this, created this high and then this low and then this high, which tapped into our order block, and then market started to drop, right? So obviously this is working. This zone is an important selling zone. And now if you look at the low over here, then this was the last low in the 5 minutes, which market has broken to the downside. But till now, if you look at the structure, then even though there were massive candles which were created in the 5 minutes, there is no strong POI that I can see over here. The only POI that I can see is going to be once again a very small fair value gap over here, which is again not a very healthy displacement. Because once market taps into an important POI like an order block or a fair value gap, market should displace from there in a very strong manner. That means we should not see upside wicks like this, which is getting created. Even though market is printing the red candles, you can see that initially market is pushing higher, and then the sellers are coming in and pushing gold to the downside. So this is not a very healthy kind of displacement. But if we look at the price action over here, then till now the price action over here where the market structure shift is happening is actually looking pretty good. So now we want to see this candle close below this candle's low. So this will give us further confirmation that market actually wants to drop to the downside, and we can expect further downside continuation in gold. So if that happens, in that case we will have a very strong POI over here, which will become our mitigation candle plus our fair value gap in the 5 minutes. So these two zones, when they combined together, this mitigation candle and this fair value gap, this becomes a very powerful zone. Now once market gives a tap into our POI, we can expect a rejection from here, and then gold should drop all the way down to $4,970, and then this low at $4,967. So these are, you can say, relatively equal lows over here. So that means that there is liquidity over here, because it's pretty obvious that when market came down, took out this low, there were buyers who were looking to trade from this demand zone, as there were wicks over here, and this push to the upside is being created by whom? By the retail traders. Okay, so that means that there is going to be their stop loss just below this swing low over here. Okay guys, so that means that market will go down and take out their stop loss, and then we can see further downside momentum. Okay, so the overall structure remains bearish in gold, and we are looking for downside movement in gold for the New York session. So we still have 19 seconds left for this candle to close, and once this candle closes, we will have a very nice confirmation of our POI, and from here we can take a sell entry and we can hold this trade all the way down. Okay guys, so hope that makes sense. We're looking to sell gold, and as I can see, this candle has closed bearish in a very strong manner, leaving us with displacement over here. So what I would like to do is I would like to sell gold now from this order block candle. Okay, so this will be our entry zone. You may ask that why not this mitigation block plus this fair value gap? Yes, this is also a very powerful POI, but since our stop loss is going to be at this high, so just to make the risk reward better, I want to take an entry from this order block, put our stop loss at this high, and keep our target according to the structure, which is going to be at this low, which was created on last Friday. Okay, so that's what we are looking for in gold. Sorry, this was created today. Yeah, so that's what we're looking for in gold. Gold has given us very strong displacement to the downside, giving us market structure shift. Why? Because you can see that this high was swept, and after that market started to drop to the downside, and market broke below the last low in the 5 minutes. Okay, so for those who are new, this is how the structure was being printing in the 5 minutes. This was the last high, low, a new high which tapped into our order block, and from here market gave displacement to the downside, breaking the structure in the 5 minutes and making the 5 minutes time frame bearish. So now you can take a sell entry from this order block candle at $5,024.5. So put your sell limit over here. Okay, sell limit will be at $5,024.5. This is going to be your sell limit, where we are going to look for an entry. Our stop loss will be at this last high, which is at $5,038. So it's a big stop loss. It's around 140 pips of stop loss. Yep. And our target will be so there is only going to be one target, because yeah, if you want to book some partial at this low, you can do so. Yeah, this will be a good partial, no doubt. So you can actually book your partial at $4,992. So yeah, TP1 will be at 4,992, and your final target will be at this low, which is at $4,967. Okay, or just to round it off, I'll just make it $4,970. Okay, so this will be your trade setup in gold. And why am I considering this low as our initial target? Although according to the structure, market has tapped into the 1 hour order block, gave confirmation in the 5 minutes. Now it should drop all the way down directly towards this low. The reason is that, like I told you initially, that there is a tiny bit of POI which has been created over here in the 1 hour time frame, which market can tap and market can react from here. But yes, obviously according to the structure, since market is bearish, market is going to disrespect this POI and continue further. But initially when market comes and taps the zone, there can be some sideways reaction like this. Market can show some reaction, and then market can drop to the downside. And also in the 5 minutes, like I have seen over here, there is a liquidity. So definitely after market takes out this low, there will be some reaction. And that's why I gave this level as the first target. And after that, as market continues to drop, we can target this low at $4,970. Okay, so that's the trade setup in gold. Market has finally given us confirmation from our 1 hour POI, and you can see the kind of strong displacement to the downside that market is showing right now. So definitely we can look for a sell opportunity in gold, and this will be your trade setup in gold. Okay guys, so I hope that makes it clear. Market is bearish and we are looking for sell opportunity in gold, and yeah, this will be the trade setup at 5,024.5 from this 5 minutes order block. Stop loss will go above this high at $5,038. Sorry. And your initial target will be at 4,992, and the final target will be at 4,970. $970. Okay, so this is going to be your sell setup in gold, and this is a very clean and a nice setup. Market tapped into our POI, and just below this POI we have got what? We have got this inducement level. Okay, so yeah, so after that we got the confirmation in the 5 minutes time frame, and now this becomes our entry point, stop loss above the high, and these are our targets. Okay guys, so hope that makes sense. This is going to be your sell setup in gold. You can put the sell limit trade and you can take this sell entry in gold. So let's see how this trade plays out. This is going to be a very simple sell setup in gold, and yeah, gold should actually start to drop, but before that we should get a pullback to this last broken area where market has created multiple POIs. It should tap into these POIs and then it should start to drop to the downside. So let's see how this trade plays out. This is a very clean trade, very clean setup with confirmation in the 5 minutes. Market has broken structure to the downside, so now this becomes our trade setup. So make sure you put the sell limit at this level, stop loss will go above the high, and this will be your targets. Initially we have targeted this high, this low, and then we'll be targeting this low over here. Okay, yeah, so this is the trade setup in gold. You can take this trade. It's a very clean and a simple setup. Okay. Okay, so this will be the setup in gold. Our sell limit is at 5024.5, this order block candle. Then our stop loss goes above the high, and these are our targets initially at 4992, because we have got a 1 hour POI over here, so there can be some reaction. We have also got this 5 minutes liquidity over here, and after that our final target lies over at this low where we have got relatively equal lows. So market will come down and hunt these equal lows over here. Okay, so this is going to be the trade setup in gold, and gold has given us back-to-back strong red candles, giving strong displacement to the downside after tapping our POI. You can see over here, this was the POI which was shared in my chart, and yeah, since then I've been waiting for market to come up and tap into the POI, and market exactly did that in the New York session. and then gave us this confirmation in the 5 minutes. So everything is going as planned. So now market should come up, tap into our POI, give a pullback, and then it should displace to the downside. Why? Because the higher time frame structure is still bearish. Okay, so right now gold is completely bearish. There is no bullish scenario in gold in any way. I was actually looking for buying opportunity today when market took out this low in the Asian session, but there was no confirmation. You can see market tried to push higher after taking out this low, but in the 1 hour you can see that even though we had this one single candle, after that market came all the way down and engulfed this previous candle, the bullish candle, and then market started to push. But once again, this was just liquidity sweep, and market was actually playing out session liquidities and nothing else. If you go to the 15 minutes, you can actually see this thing. We had this Asia high, this Asia low. London went up, took out the Asia high, and this is a very famous ICT 2022 model where you trade the Asian session highs and lows. Not only the Asian session high and low, the same principle can be used for the London session high and low as well. So here you can see that after market took out the Asian session high, market started to drop to the downside, came all the way down and took out the Asian session low. So I think based on this principle, I have shared a strategy in my channel. So yeah, maybe it's there. So yeah, so this is the simple thing based on which the strategy was shared, where you can look for session highs and lows, and once they're taken out, you can look for a sell entry or a buy entry depending upon the market structure. So since the market structure was bearish, if you took a sell entry after taking out the Asia high, this will be a much better setup than if you look for buying opportunity. Let's say market, instead of taking out the Asia high, market dropped and took out the Asia low. So in that case, if you look for a buying opportunity over here, surely you can do that in the intraday. But once again, since the bias is bearish, market is dropping, if you go with the bias and look for a sell opportunity, that will give you a much better high probable entry. Okay, so that is something I just wanted to tell you. And over here as well, you can see as the New York session started, market pushed up, and what market did was market took out the London high, and then market started to drop to the downside. So yeah, when basically in Mondays when there is no news, this is how market moves. Market will play with the session highs and lows, and market will follow the ICT 2022 model, and market will give this kind of moves. Okay, so let's see what market does. Market is directly dropping to the downside. Seems like the downside pressure is too much from this supply zone, which once again is yeah, it should be expected because this was our 1 hour POI, which is the last 1 hour order block, which created this downside momentum initially. Once market is, there should be a good momentum. It should have been expected. And also, like I told you, apart from that, we have got the London session high over here, which was taken in the New York session. And that's why we see the session traders also entering the market and market dropping to the downside in such a quick manner. Apart from that, those who trade on liquidities, for them, this was a very strong swing high where we had liquidity. And once market took that, they should have also taken entry from this area and should have sold. So that's the reason that gold is dropping directly to the downside without giving us any entry. So till now, we do not have any entry in gold, but this remains our entering area. And let's see where market is actually going to give us any entry or not, because right now the pressure is too much to the downside. And yeah, let's see what happens, because you can see back-to-back red candles in the 5 minutes after market tapped into our 1 hour POI, right? So that's why POIs are so important. They're so potent. They're so effective, because these are areas where the institutions have left behind their orders. So you should understand that this move to the downside is not a retail move at all, because retails like us, we're waiting for market to give us our entry, but market is directly dropping without giving us that entry, printing back-to-back red candles. So this move is designed by the algorithm or market makers or whatever you want to call it. So they are the one who is actually making this kind of move, creating this kind of strong imbalance in the market, and that's what we're actually following. Yeah, so let's see if market gives us an entry or not. If market does not give us an entry in the 5 minutes, then we have to wait and we have to look at the 15 minutes. So in 15 minutes also I can see we have got some POIs over here. So it's possible that market actually moves, taps into the 15 minutes POI, and from there market starts to drop. Why? Because the momentum is very strong to the downside, and in that case there is a less possibility that market will give us this entry from the 5 minutes POI. Rather, we have to focus on the 15 minutes POI. So let's see what market does. Market has in fact tapped into this 15 minutes order block, and from here there should be some reaction. So let's see what market does. If we see a reaction, market pushes higher, and in that case we can focus on this 15 minutes fair value gap, and from here we can look for a sell opportunity using the 1 minute time frame confirmation model. So let's see what market does. Overall structure is bearish and we are still looking for selling opportunities in gold, no doubt about that. But the only question is whether market is going to give us our entry from this 5 minutes order block or not, which I don't think, because looking at the structure, the momentum is it's very high right now towards the downside, and market can directly push to the downside without going all the way up to give a tap into the 5 minutes order block. So let's see what market does. But for now, according to the 5 minute structure, this is the sell limit, right? So let's see what market does over here. Good thing is that over here, if we look at the candles, then there is not a single order block candle which has been created over here. The last order block candle was over here, and after that we only see fair value gaps. We see we have got a fair value gap over here. We see we have got another fair value gap over here, and here there is no POI. And here let's see how this candle closes. If this candle closes back up and gives a tap into the previous candle's low, in that case there won't be any POI over here. So what I want to say is, till now these POIs are still important, because over here not a single new POI has been created in the 5 minutes time frame. So in that case, if this candle closes back up and taps into this previous candle's low, in that case we can expect that market will give us a pullback and then it will drop to the downside. Yeah, so let's see how this candle closes, and then we will see how we can take an entry. But according to the structure, according to the 5 minute structure, this will be our entry limit. Okay, so I will just like to keep it at this time frame and then move on to the 15 minutes time frame. But before that, let's look at the 30 minutes. Okay, so we still have got 12 minutes left for this candle to close, so we'll have to wait for that. In the 15 minutes, okay, so in the 5 minutes I will keep this one as well, and also this one. Now let's look at the 15 minutes. In the 15 minutes we have got this massive fair value gap candle, right? So this is going to be our POI in the 15 minutes, and from here we'll be looking for an entry. Now why am I doing that? Because I've told you the momentum, you can see, is very strong to the downside. Market have created multiple imbalance candles, and in that case there is less chance that market will go all the way up. See what market did. Market came down and market also took out this low as well. So the momentum is very strong right now, and I don't think we are going to get an entry. So I'm going to remove this limit order from here, because this is not valid anymore, because market came all the way down and it already hit our first target, which was our initial target at this low. So in that case, I'm not going to take an entry right now, because market has already taken out this liquidity, and this is not just a 5 minutes liquidity. I've told you initially that this is also a 1 hour POI over here. So now we have to see what market does. Yes, the selling, you can say, bias remains valid, and now if we see a pullback into our POI, then definitely we can look for an entry from this area. But let's see what market does now, because the selling momentum is too strong right now, and in that case maybe market will just directly drop to the downside. But we should see some reaction, because this is a 1 hour POI, right? And this is a liquidity in the 5 minutes which market has taken, and we can see good amount of reaction from here. So in that case, let's see how this candle closes. But till now the 15 minutes POI remains valid, and from here we can actually look for an entry. If we get a pullback to this zone, then from here we can take a confirmation using the 1 minute time frame market structure shift. Okay, so let's see how that plays out. Let's see if we get a pullback to this zone or not, which we should. And if we get that, then definitely we'll look for an entry from here. But for now, the 5 minutes entry model that we used before, that is not valid anymore, because market came all the way down and tapped into our liquidity area, which was our initial target. So in that case, we cannot use the 5 minutes entry model anymore. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Now we'll be looking for a new entry using the 15 minutes POI, which is going to be this massive fair value gap candle. Yeah, so let's see what market does. If market gives a pullback, then definitely we'll be looking for an entry from here. Okay, so you can remove the limit order that we initially placed from the 5 minutes order block. You can remove that because market has directly pushed lower and hit our first target. So this was the liquidity which market has already taken. So in that case, we do not want to enter from the 5 minutes. Now we will use a new confirmation entry model to take our new entry from the 15 minutes POI. Okay, so let's wait for that and see what gold does, if it gives an entry or not. I think it should give an entry because this is a very important level. This is a 1 hour POI, and some kind of reaction should definitely be seen from here. Okay, so we're removing the limit order and we'll be looking for now a new opportunity in gold from the 15 minutes POI. Okay, so till now gold is bearish, which makes sense because this candle also closed below the previous candle's low, so clearly indicating that the next candle, which is this one, should also drop to the downside directly because this candle's closing was below this previous candle. Okay, but this is an important level like I told you, so some kind of reaction should be seen from this zone, and if we see that, then we're going to focus on this zone, which is the 15 minutes POI, and from here we'll be looking for an entry. So you can see the kind of reaction that it gave from this 1 hour POI, right? And that's why the POIs are so powerful, because like I told you, order blocks, fair value gaps, these are the imprints of the market makers. These are the imprints of the literally whales who moves the market. Okay, so whenever you see order blocks, these are the zones where their pending orders are there. So whenever market taps into this zone, the reaction will be massive, like you see in this candle. So when you understand these zones correctly, when you can find these zones correctly and read the market structure correctly and have a clear bias, then it becomes very easy for you to identify the next move of the market. Okay, so right now there is nothing to trade. Just wait and watch for market to tap this zone, and from here, if we get confirmation in the 1 minute, then definitely we will look for an entry from here, and we can target initially this low if we get a pullback right now, or if market drops lower. In that case, we'll have to watch what market does, what kind of POI it creates, and then we'll be looking for an entry. Okay, so let's wait and watch what gold does next. For now, there is no entry in gold. Let's look at silver. Silver has also actually given us a very good reaction after tapping the last daily low, which was this one. So this was the last daily low. You can see market came all the way down. We had this last breakout structure in the daily. This was the order block which market tapped into, and then market initially pushed higher, and market also created a new order block, but from here market failed to push higher, and then it comes all the way down and takes out the last daily low from which this push happened, right? And you can see the kind of movement that it gave after taking out this low. There was a very strong push to the upside, and it has also created multiple POIs in the 1 hour. So right now silver is actually looking much stronger compared to gold, because in gold we did not see any kind of strong impulsive movement with strong displacement yet, but in silver we already see that. But here silver has taken out the last high, and from here silver is dropping. So there is no market structure shift in 1 hour. Till now the 1 hour structure still remains bearish, because this was the last low over here. then silver created this high, then it created this low, and then it should have broken above this high, then it would have become 1 hour bearish, 1 hour bullish. But that did not happen. This was only a sweep, but market has shown displacement. So maybe we can see some reaction from this zone, but as long as market does not break above $81.5, silver is still bearish and it can drop further to the downside after taking out this high. Okay, so let's see how this plays out in silver. If we go to the lower time frame, so in the 5 minutes, do we have any confirmation for a sell setup? So I don't see anything. The last low was over here, and here we don't see any strong. Yeah, we actually see some displacement over here which silver tapped into, and from here silver is going down. But apart from that, we don't have any kind of setup right now in silver. But yes, gold is definitely showing good momentum after tapping into our POI, but silver, it still haven't done anything big for us to take a sell opportunity. The market structure shift level is also over here, which is quite far away from where market is right now. So we'll have to wait for a setup in silver, but right now the structure remains bearish as long as market does not break above this high. Okay, so there was a good initial reaction after taking out this low, but as long as the 1 hour remains bearish, we cannot really buy silver. We have to wait for the 1 hour to turn bullish, and only then we can look for buying opportunity in silver. Okay, let's look at gold, what's going on. So we can see that there is some kind of reaction which is still taking place over here. Like I told you, because this was a 1 hour POI, so definitely some kind of reaction should be seen from this zone, which we can see right now. And the 1 hour candle is also going to close in the next 3.5 minutes. And this is a very strong bearish candle in the 1 hour time frame. So that makes sense because market has snapped into our POI, and from there the displacement was very, very quick. So overall the structure remains bearish in gold, and in the 15 minutes, let's see what kind of POIs it creates. We can see that market has also created this POI over here. This is a 15 minutes fair value gap, but we have to wait for this candle to close. Only then this fair value gap will be verified, and once market taps into this fair value gap, if we get a 1 minute confirmation, we can look for an entry, and according to the structure, this will be our initial target, and after that the next target can be at this low. Okay, so let's see how this plays out. Once we get a tap into this zone, we'll look for a confirmation in the 1 minute time frame, and if market drives further to the upside, in that case we'll be focusing on the next POI, which is going to be this order block candle and also this massive fair value gap. So potentially this whole zone where we have got strong imbalance, we can look for an entry from this zone once we get confirmation in the 1 minute time frame. Okay, so let's see what happens. For now, this is the first zone to watch in the 15 minutes. If we get a confirmation from here, then we can directly take an entry from here itself, and our initial target will be at this low, which is at $4,988. Okay, this is going to be our initial target, and after that, like I told you, we can target these lows over here. So let's see if we get an entry from here, then I will give you a sell entry from this zone itself. But if market does not give us an entry from here, which it should, because like I told you, market has taken out an important liquidity over here, tapped into a 1 hour order block, and now market should show some good reaction, which it already has, but we have got multiple pending imbalances over here, which now should be tapped into, and then market should continue lower. So let's wait for this candle to close, and once that happens, we'll wait for an entry into this POI, and from here we'll be looking for a sell opportunity in gold. Okay, let's look at the indices. Okay, so today the indices are actually kind of showing some good momentum to the upside. Okay, even though they're still bearish, they're under pressure, but still we can see that there is some kind of strength that has been shown in indices today. Let's look at the 1 hour. The 1 hour is still bearish. We had this low taken out, and okay, so market has tapped into these order block, and from here it is showing reaction. Okay, daily is still bearish. 4 hour, Yeah, it's still the same order block. Okay, so in the 1 hour we have got this zone. Let's go to the 1 minutes and see if there is any confirmation. So yeah, we actually had this confirmation. We had this market structure shift over here. Okay, let's look at the 5 minutes. In the 5 minutes, this was the last low which market has broken to the downside, and now market is giving a pullback. So it's possible that after tapping into these POI over here, it starts to drop once again. So if you get a reaction from here, you can actually look for a sell opportunity in SPX 500. Okay, so let's see how market reacts to this 5 minutes POI. The 1 minutes confirmation was over here. So you could have actually taken an entry from here itself, but we missed it. So in the 5 minutes, let's see what market does. But the 5 minutes low is actually over here. You know, it's not exactly over here. This is the 1 minute low, but this is the 5 minutes low, and market has swept this low and market is pushing higher. So in that case, I would actually like to see another drop to the downside and a break below this last low. Okay, this will be our CISD entry model. And if that happens, if market now drops, because we have got some POIs over here, we have got the fair value gap. So now it starts to drop and market breaks below this low, gives us a candle closing along with displacement. Then we can actually look for a sell opportunity from here. Why? Because the 1 hour structure still remains bearish. Okay, as long as this high does not gets broken to the upside, the 1 hour structure still remains bearish. And okay, we see the 1 hour candle has closed. Now if the 5 minutes starts to drop and closes below this low, then this will become our confirmation in the 5 minutes, and we can look for an opportunity in SPX 500. Okay, so now let's focus on gold. Okay, so the 15 minutes candle has closed, and this remains to be our POI. Let's look at the 30 minutes. In the 30 minutes, there is this POI over here. Let's look at the 5 minutes. In the 5 minutes, the only POI is going to be once again over here, the order block and the fair value gap. Right, this is the POI that we can watch for. And if you have seen my Friday's live stream, if you're there, then this was the exact POI in the 5 minutes that we followed, that we can follow here also. And interestingly, the 5 minutes POI also confluences with the 15 minutes POI. So definitely there is a strong selling area over here. So we'll be focusing on this zone. And if we get a confirmation from here, then definitely we can look for an entry from here itself. Okay, so let's see if we get an entry or not. Till now, there is nothing. Market just went up, and now market is starting to drop. So there is no entry into our POI yet, but we have to wait for the entry, for the tap into the zone, and then we can look for a confirmation from here, and we can take an entry from here. Okay, so let's now wait for market to tap into our zone, and then we'll be looking for a confirmation in the 1 minute from this zone, and we'll be looking to sell gold, and we'll be targeting this as our initial target. And then we can target this lows over here at $4,970. So let's see if we get a pullback into this area, which we should, because all the zones over here, starting from the 5 minutes, they're all pending. So market will have to tap into these zones before pushing to the downside. Okay, so that's what we're waiting for now. Let's wait for market to tap into the zone, and then we will take our entry using the 1 minute confirmation entry model. Okay, so 15 minutes closed back up after taking out this low, and now market is pushing higher. Okay, so everything is going good. Now we just have to wait for market to tap here and give us a confirmation, and then we will execute our entry. Okay, so let's see what market does, if it gives us an entry or not. Let's wait for that. Let's look at silver as well, what's going on. Okay, so there is a massive wick to the downside, and silver is also pushing higher just like in gold. But once again, as long as market does not break above this high. The 1 hour is bearish in silver, and we cannot look for buying opportunities as such, even though there was a displacement. So market can initially show some reaction from here, and then it can drop to the downside. Why I'm saying so? Because gold structure is still bearish, and that's why I'm also expecting silver to follow the same path. And you know, gold and silver, they are like brothers, they're like siblings, they follow the same path, and that's the reason we can expect downside pressure in silver as well, and silver should also go down. Okay, so now let's look at gold. Okay, so till now there is no entry, there is no tap into our POI, so let's wait for that. Till that happens, we'll just have to wait, and market should tap into our POI very soon, and from here, if we get confirmation, we will take our entry. Okay, but if it gives a deeper pullback, in that case, we'll be focusing on the 30 minutes POI over here, which can be this fair value gap, and from here we'll be looking for an entry opportunity using the 1 minute market structure shift confirmation model. So let's see which POI gives our entry. All of these are very important levels. This whole push to the downside, there is a strong imbalance over here. So market will rebalance this before going lower. So all the candles over here, these massive candles, all of them are very important. Okay, so let's see which one gives our confirmation. Let's look at SPX 500. So it is going down, and now we want to see a bearish breakdown. And if that happens, then definitely we can look for an entry, and we can expect that it is going to drop from here and target this last low at $6,600. So let's see if we get an entry or not. The structure still remains bearish in the shorter term. Okay, so yeah, let's see how this plays out and if we get an entry or not. Nasdaq is sideways. There is no proper entry over here, no proper structure. It's just sideways market right now. If you look at the 15 minutes, okay, it's kind of showing strength to the upside in the shorter term, but overall structure is still kind of sideways, so nothing much to trade over here. And gold is actually going down directly. So till now there is no entry, so we just have to wait now. As long as market does not tap into our POI, we cannot take an entry directly. We have to wait for market to rebalance this imbalances, and only then look for an entry using our confirmation models. Let's look at crypto. So Bitcoin is actually showing good amount of strength after tapping into our monthly POI, after taking out this liquidity over here. If you look at the structure, then this was the last break of structure in the monthly. Market comes down, takes out the last low, taps into this order block, and from here it is actually showing strength once again. So if we go to the daily, we can see that it has created some imbalances, and it is actually respecting those imbalances. It created this POI over here, tapped into it and pushed higher, and then it has also created a POI over here and tapped into it, and once again it has pushed higher. So Bitcoin has tapped into this high, market has taken out this high, so the liquidity has been taken. Now if we see a new break of structure above this high, then definitely we can look for a new buying opportunity in Bitcoin. And according to the structure in the weekly, this is a supply zone. We have got this fair value gap, and now if it wants to drop, it should directly drop from here. But looking at how this candle initially tapped into this and it gave a massive wick, but this wick was filled later on, it is showing that even though initially there was supply over here from this fair value gap, but since the buyers came and absorbed that supply, that sell side, the downside sell pressure, and it gave a very strong candle closing upside, it indicates that this is not a valid supply area anymore. In that case, it can actually push higher, and if that happens, then Bitcoin is next going to go for this high at $79,320. So what I want to say is, once market gives a break of structure above this high in the daily time frame, you can look for a new entry and target this high at $79,300. And over here as well, I can see market has created this new order block. So make sure you focus on this in the upcoming days. And if market taps this zone, use confirmation from here, and initially you can target this high, and then you can hold the rest till $79,300. Okay, so you can get a good amount of swing setup in Bitcoin over here, so do not miss this at all, because looking at the structure over here, starting from the monthly, like I've already shown you, market has taken out this last low, tapped into the order block, and we can see in the daily market is showing good reaction, and definitely we can look for buying opportunities in Bitcoin. Okay guys, so that's what we're looking for in crypto. If we talk about Ethereum, then Ethereum is also showing good amount of strength. Market has come down all the way, tapped into the order block in the monthly, and from here market is showing good amount of strength. You can see market is pushing higher, and Ethereum has already given us a new breakoff structure over here. So once market gives the pullback, make sure you look for an entry from this order block and also this fair value gap, and from here you can look for higher prices. And in Ethereum, next you can target this high at $2,390. Okay, so crypto is actually looking good. The momentum is back once again in the market, and you can look for buying opportunities in crypto, specifically in Bitcoin and in Ethereum as well. Okay, now let's get back to gold and let's see what's going on. Okay, so market is just sideways over here. Nothing much has happened yet. You can see market came down once again, tapped into this last broken level, and now this becomes a QM level, and market is actually taking support from this level. So we should see bullish reaction from here, and market should start to push up from this area. So let's see what market does. Overall market structure remains bearish, and we're still looking for selling opportunity, but we need to see market tap into these imbalances before we can take an entry. We just cannot take a FOMO entry and look for a sell. Now we cannot do that. We have to wait for market to tap into these imbalances, rebalance the selling side, the sell side imbalance that it has created, and then we can look for a new opportunity towards the selling side, and we can target the sell side liquidity over here. Okay, so that's the plan in gold, but till now there is no confirmation, so we cannot do really anything about that. We have to wait. I think market will once again push higher from here, tap into our POI, then give a confirmation in the 1 minute. Now what I'm drawing, you can expect this on the line chart obviously, which is something like this. So once we get the market structure shift, then from a POI over here, such as a fair value gap or an order block, we can look for a sell entry, and we can target it all the way down to this low initially. This is going to be our initial target. Now I'm telling you the plan, what to do in gold next. So this will be our initial target at $4,988, and below that we'll be targeting this low at $4,970. Okay, so that's the plan in gold right now. We have to wait for market to rebalance this imbalance that it has created after tapping into our POI. So wait for rebalancing, and then you can look for a sell opportunity. But for now, there is no entry in gold. Okay, hope that makes clear. And the sell side imbalance, the sell side momentum is very strong, and that's why we see this massive imbalance candles. And that's the reason actually I'm looking at the 15 minutes POI and the 5 minutes POI. Else I would have looked into the 1 hour POI over here, but in the 1 hour we still have to wait for this candle to close, and that's the reason we are focusing on the lower time frame like the 5 minutes and the 15 minutes. So hope that makes sense to you. Okay, so yeah, gold and silver both are bearish. And okay, so in silver also market has created 15 minutes displacement to the downside, but once again I'm not very interested to trade silver right now. I will wait for silver to either break out of this high, make the 1 hour bullish, or drop from here all the way down and take out this low, give a new break off structure to the downside, and then we'll be looking for a new selling opportunity. But for now, yes, the market remains bearish, and yes, in the 5 minutes you can actually look for some selling opportunity. If you want to do that, then this is going to be your order block candle, which I don't think has been tapped exactly. So if market pushes higher once again, taps into this order block, and you see a reaction from here, you see a strong downside candle from here after tapping into this zone, then definitely you can look for an entry. Stop loss will go above this order block candle. Okay, but it's not a very clean price action over here because the structure still remains bullish in the 5 minutes time frame. Okay, market came all the way down, and it has tapped into this order block candle, and from here it once again started to push higher. So for that, we need to see some clear evidence that market wants to move to the downside. Yes, market has taken out the high and closed below this, but we also needed to see some strong displacement to the downside, which we haven't seen yet. And in that case, I'll wait for silver to create a new break-off structure. For now, let's just focus on gold. And in gold, like I told you, once again, gold can push higher, and that's what we can see. Market is rejecting this level again and again. This tested this zone multiple times, and it is rejecting this zone again and again. So market wants to push higher initially, tap into our POIs, and then it is going to drop once again to the downside. So make sure you focus on this zone, and if you get a confirmation from here, then definitely you can look for a sell opportunity in gold. Okay, so I think that will be the update for now. Okay, so market is pushing higher, so let's see if we get a confirmation or not. If we do, then I will just share an entry with you, and then I can wrap up the stream. And obviously more updates will be shared in my Telegram channel, so make sure you join this. You can find the link below in the description. Okay, so we can see a bullish candle closing over here, clearly indicating that there are buyers over here who came after taking out this low, and now it should push higher, at least tap into this zone, and from here we should get a sell opportunity. So we'll have to wait for that now. Okay, silver, once again, like I told you, we have got the 5 minutes POI. So from here, if we get a reaction, then definitely we can look for an entry. Till now there is no entry into this zone yet. We have to wait for market to tap here, and then we can look for an entry. Okay, so let's just wait for gold to tap into our POI, and then we can look for an entry using 1 minute confirmation entry models. But for now, you can see that market is kind of sideways over here. There is nothing much to do about it. Wait for market to push higher, tap into the zone, and therefore a sell opportunity. Okay, apart from that, let's appears a bit. So currency pairs are actually quite weak at the moment. You can see that this was the last weekly low which created this high. Market came all the way down and closed the previous candle below this low. So this is clearly showing weakness in the currency pairs. So now let's see what market wants to do. Even the price action here is not very clean and clear. We had this volume imbalance which market tapped into, and then market dropped to the downside. So the daily still remains bearish. We see this new break-off structure to the downside. And in the daily, we can see that we have got this order block candle and the fair value cap. So this is the zone to watch for if you want to look for a sell opportunity, because the market structure still remains bearish. In the 4 hour, we can see that we have got this as the order block. So make sure you focus on this zone, because from here itself, market can drop to the downside. In the 1 hour, well, we had this POI over here initially, which market tapped into. Then we had this POI which market traded through. So in 1 hour also, we have to focus on this zone, because we have the order block which actually confluences with the 4 hour POI over here. So in the 4 hour, you can focus on this zone. This will be the first zone to watch for a sell opportunity in Euro USD. And in the daily, this will be the zone to watch in Euro USD. Both of them are supply areas. Make sure you look for a confirmation from these zones when you look for an entry, and wherever you get confirmation, either from the daily POI or from the 4 hour POI, doesn't really matter. Wherever you get the confirmation, you can take your entry from there itself. Okay, now let's look at gold. So gold is actually pushing higher as expected. Let's look at the 15 minutes. So the 15 minutes has actually tapped into our POI finally, and now we can use the 1 minute time frame as our confirmation. So let's see what gold does. If it, there is no market structure shift as of yet, and market structure shift is going to be over here, which is actually not going to be a very good confirmation for us according to this price action that market has created. In that case, what we can do is we can wait for market to create 1 hour displacement over here, and then from the displacement we can look for a sell opportunity. Okay, so hope that makes sense. Now let's just wait for market to give a confirmation from this zone, and then we can take an entry from there. Okay, so till now there is no confirmation, no displacement to the downside, so we have to wait for that. If we get that, then only we can look for an entry. Till now nothing like that, so we just have to keep waiting for now for a confirmation from this zone, and then we can take an entry from here. Okay guys, so hope the stream is helpful to you and you're learning something from the stream. If that's the case, then make sure you like the stream and also subscribe to the channel if you're watching me for the first time. And also, if you want more updates, make sure to join my Telegram channel. You can find the link below in the description. And also, if you want the exact entries with stop loss targets, which I share in my live stream, so exact kind of setups if you want in my private area, in that case, you can see some brokers which have been mentioned in my description. You can register with any one of them. They're world-class brokers, and yeah, then I'll add you in my member area. And if you have any issues with deposit, withdrawal, anything like that, I can help you with that as well. Okay, so now let's see if market actually gives us a displacement from this zone. Till now, I think as such, market is still pushing higher. But yes, this is the zone to watch for. This is the 5-minute zone and also the 15-minute zone as well. In the 5 minutes, this is the order block. But yes, we have to focus on the whole POI because this is a fair value gap in the 5 minutes, which is also important. And in the 15 minutes, obviously, this is the whole POI to watch for. And let's in the 1 minutes, if market gives any confirmation, we'll look for an entry. But for now, there is nothing as of such. So let's wait for displacement to the downside, and then we can take an entry. Okay, let's look at the indices, what's going on. So in the 5 minutes, there is nothing as of such, no confirmation. We need to see closing below this low. This will be our CISD entry model, and then we can look for an entry. But for now, there is nothing like that, so there is no entry over here. Let's look at silver. Silver is tapped into our POI, and now if we see something, then maybe we can take an entry. But once again, like I told you, I'm not very interested to trade silver right now. I'll be much interested to trade gold because the price action on gold is much more cleaner and clearer, and also the displacement is also very clean and clear compared to gold, and in that case, I mean compared to silver, and in that case I would like to focus on gold. Okay, so till now there is no confirmation. Let's just wait for the confirmation, and then we will be taking our entry from the displacement candle, and then we can target this low initially, and below that we have got this low over here. Okay, so let's see if we get a confirmation or not. Okay, so you can see the market started to push higher after taking out this low I told you about. This was an important low, and that's why, if you remember, when we took our initial entry in the 5 minutes, our initial target was at this level at $4,990. Why? Because this was a very strong zone. Why? Because this was a 1 hour POI over here. We had this fair value gap, and market was reacting from this zone. Okay, so let's see if market gives us a confirmation now. So we can see that market is showing reaction from here. The bullish strength is now diminishing, and we can see that market is started to create this wicks on the upside, clearly indicating that the selling pressure has started to come into the market. And in that case, if we get a confirmation from here, definitely we'll be looking for a sell entry from this zone. Okay, so let's wait for the displacement, and then we'll be looking for a sell opportunity in gold. So till now there is no entry. I'm just waiting for market to give an entry from this zone, but till now no entry as of yet. Okay, so let's just wait for market to give an entry, and then we'll be executing our entry. Okay, so this is our zone, the 15 minutes POI. So let's see if market is able to displace to the downside, creating some POIs in the 1 minute. Then we can look for a sell opportunity in gold. Okay, so we can see clearly the selling pressure coming into the market. Let's look at the volume. Okay, so this is a good volume, higher than the previous green candles over here, and also the next candle is coming down, took out the previous candle's low. So yes, this is what we want to see. We can actually look for a sell opportunity, but till now do not have any confirmation, so we have to wait for that. Okay, so let's see how this plays out, if we get an entry from here or not. Silver is also showing sidewaysness over here. Volume is coming up. So I think silver will also start to drop from here itself. Okay, so in gold, actually, I can see that market has created a displacement and market has created this small imbalance, even though it's a small imbalance, but it's still valid. So I'm going to mark this zone over here. And what I want to see now is gold to push up like this, tap into this zone, and then come down once again. This is what I want to see now. Obviously, this is not a very high confirmation entry model, a high probable entry model, but this is the best that we can get over here. Because if you look at something else like IFVG or something like that, we do not have any fair value gap that we can use. The only fair value gap is going to be here. So we cannot wait for market to come all the way down for our entry. Apart from that, if we look at CIST entry model, in that case, well, this is not a very high probable entry model, and in that case is going to be our confirmation just based on this single candle. So that's why I'm not very interested to use this entry model. So now we want to wait for market to tap into this zone. Yes, that's what we want to see. We want to see the build up to the downside. That's the most important part after tapping into our POI, and that's what market is doing over here. So now we want to see market push higher once again, tap into this displaced candles over here, and then give a reaction from here and drop to the downside, giving a new breakout structure to the downside. So this will be our entry model to sell gold. But for now, gold is just giving us back-to-back candles. So till now, there is no entry. Let's wait for something. Okay, we cannot just take an entry like that, guys. We have to wait. Do not FOMO in the market. Okay, just wait. If market does not give any entry from here, that's fine. If market just directly drops, that's fine. We'll wait for a new breakout structure and we'll use the same concept that I've used over here. Wait for a new POI, wait for market to tap into the POI, give a confirmation using the entry models like CISD, IFVG, market structure shift, whatever you feel comfortable with. And then from there you take your entry, but never ever chase the market. Okay, even though it moves with your analysis, do not chase the market. Okay, do not FOMO into the market. Always wait for good confirmation to take an entry. If there is no confirmation, then you cannot FOMO into the market, right? So just wait for a strong confirmation, only then you can enter a market. So till now there is no confirmation. If it does not give any confirmation, then what we can do is we can go to the 1 hour time frame, and in the 1 hour we can wait for this candle to close, and then we can wait for market to tap into this fair value gap in the 1 hour. Do not worry, market will give you entry because it's a corrective market. So market is not just going to drop in a single direction. Market will give you your entries. You do not have to worry at all. You just have to be patient, patient, and patient. That's it. And wait for market to tap into the POI, and then use the 5 minutes confirmation entry model, and then you can look for a selling opportunity in gold. Okay, but you do not have to FOMO in, you do not have to worry at all. You do not have to catch all the moves, guys. You just want one small price action. That's it. If you just catch this amount of price action the whole week, whatever market does, it does not matter, right? If you just catch this amount of price action in the whole week, whatever market does, it doesn't really matter. So that's all matters, right? So you just focus on the small chunk of price action, and once you get confirmation, you take your entries. That's it. So here market has already given a very strong displacement to the downside, and market has tapped into the fair value gap in the 1 minute, and market can continue lower from here. So in that case, there is no entry from here. I cannot give you any entry over here because the displacement has already taken place, and this is a massive candle over here. So now, like I told you, just wait for market to close this candle, and if this fair value gap remains, then you can wait for market to give a pullback into this POI, and using the 5 minute confirmation entry model, you can look for an entry and you can trade it to the downside. And once again, do not worry, do not FOMO into the market. Wait for market to give you your tap into the POIs. You can see the whole day I just waited for market to tap into the POI, and even then I did not get an entry from here. So what do I do? What can I do? Should I chase the market? Should I FOMO? Should I take a sell entry? No. Wait. Okay, wait for new POIs to get created. Once they're created, wait for market to tap those POIs. After that, wait for confirmation, and then you take your entry. Okay, this is what you can do. This is what you have in your hand to do. That's all you can control. That's your emotions, how you execute, how you plan. That's all you have in your hand. Apart from that, the results are not in your hand. Even after following all that, if market gives you a loss, that's completely fine. Okay, you have to accept that. Anyhow, so this is how you have to trade, guys. I hope you understand. I'm not just giving you trades. I'm not just giving you analysis. I'm giving you the whole mindset of how to trade. Okay, so that you can execute yourself the way I am planning the trades. I am looking at the confirmations. I am trying to execute the trades. Okay, so yeah, for now, there is no entry in gold. The structure remains bearish, and yes, we have to wait now for this 1 hour candle to close. And once it closes, if we get this fair value gap over here, then we'll be waiting for a pullback to this zone, and we'll be waiting for a confirmation, and from here we can take an entry in gold. Okay, hope that makes sense. So right now there is no entry, so I'll be just wrapping up the stream because there is no entry and I cannot give you anything right now. So you have to wait and wait for the market to create some POIs in the 1 hour, and then from there you can look for an entry, and you can target this low over here at $4,970. Okay guys, hope that makes sense. Similarly in silver, you can see that gold is given some good reaction from this area, but once again, like I told you, personally I'm not very interested to trade silver right now. I'll wait for a break of structure to the upside or to the downside. If it breaks below this low, then we'll be looking for a new selling opportunity. That's it. But for now, there is no trade in gold. Wait for market to create a POI, wait for the tap, wait for confirmation, then you take your entry. Okay, so hope that makes it clear. The structure still remains bearish. Daily is bearish. If the daily candle closes below this low today, then you can expect that market is going to go down, and in the daily market has actually created multiple POIs. As I can see, this will be a new fair value gap to watch for, and above this we will have some more POIs like this fair value gap and this extreme POI, which will be the order block candle over here. Okay, so overall structure still remains bearish for gold, and yes, now the chances increases, the probability increases that gold can actually drive to the downside and tap to $4,844 in the upcoming days. So you can actually catch a good amount of swing trade in in gold over here. And if we focus in 4 hour, then I can find some more levels for you, which is going to be this level at 4,943. So initially you can target this level, and then you can target this low at $4,844. Okay, so this will be your trade plan in the higher time frame, but for now the structure remains bearish as well in the lower time frame, and focus on these POIs, and from here if you get confirmation, you'll be taking your entry using the confirmation entry models. Okay guys, so I hope that makes things clear to you. What we're looking for in gold, the structure is bearish, and if the daily closes below 4996, then definitely this is going to bring more sellers into the market, and the sentiment is going to turn completely bearish in gold, and then we can look for more selling opportunities in gold and catch a good amount of drop to the downside in gold. Okay, so that's it for today. I hope things were clear, even though you did not get any entry. I hope you understood how to plan an entry, how to execute an entry using the confirmation. And even if you do not get confirmation, or you got confirmation but market has moved far away from your entry point, in that case do not FOMO into the market, okay? Because that helps you to have a good mindset and a good psychology. Okay, so that's it for today. For more updates, make sure to join my Telegram channel, because obviously I'll share more updates over there, and I'll see you